Well, hello once again, folks. What on earth have I got here? This is a Triang R351 Class 77 locomotive. And a bit of a rarity, I think, this thing. It was sent to me by a chap called Ian for a service, and wow. So this is a bit of a treat to be given something like this to work on, and it's in remarkably good condition. So I don't know much about this locomotive, so please do let me know in the comments what this thing was all about. These little things do pop up. So yeah, I really like this. Okay, so let's give this thing some power and see if it goes. Not really. Try it in reverse. No. But the motor's not dead, there is life there. So I think this has the same motor as a Class 37, the old Spider assembly motor, but there's no pickup on the front bogie. But this thing, I mean, yeah, it would be possible to replace the wheels and fit a pickup and make it run better over points and crossings, but this thing is a bit of a rarity, and I think it should be left exactly as it is. I know the owner does have the original box. Thankfully they haven't sent me the original box, but you know, this locomotive in its original box is going to be quite a valuable thing. So I'm not going to start drilling into it and replacing wheels and doing all sorts of stuff. We will leave it well alone. We'll just service it and give it a clean up and package it back up and get it the hell out of here, because it makes me nervous having this. Right, okay, let's take it to the bench and see what's what. So yeah, the condition of this thing, apart from being dusty, is excellent. These things do have a tendency to pop up. So we'll give it a good clean, a very gentle clean. Get down and stay down. It's called Electra, this locomotive. So as I say, I don't know much about this at all. You know, when I got the email to say I've got a Class 77 I'd like you to look at, I thought, Class 77? Class 77? I couldn't think what it was. I don't ever see me owning one of these. I think they're probably out my price range, because I did a little bit of Googling on them, and yeah, some of them go for some a princely sum. So I'm going to have to watch what I'm doing here. However, we've got a nice big tempting screw here that we shall undo very gently. Okay, so with that undone, does this lift off? I'm hoping it does. I really don't want this to have any clips. Oh dear. Is it? Right. Okay. Spudge up time. I want to be super careful with this. There we go. Oh, that was nerve-wracking. Okay, so we've got a big retaining clip here, and that'll release the motor. So push that forward. That's a nice gentle release, and this should just come out. And there's no wires to the front bogie, obviously, so we just end up with this. Okay, so we'll have a bit of a look at the motor. It's all very dry and a bit dusty looking. The brushes look okay, commutator looks okay. There's no melting going on in the plastic casing, so that looks fine. The drive gears are plastic, and oh dear, and this one here is exceptionally worn. So I'm just going to release this plate at the bottom. Okay, I don't know if you can see the difference there. If you look at the profile of the teeth on that gear, and then you look at the profile of the teeth on this one, I've never seen anything so worn. So I think all I can do is, you know, is take this apart and service it, and I mean, it might still work. It might still work, but I think there's a real possibility that's all that's going to happen is, you know, the worm is just going to be rubbing against that gear rather than turning it. Let's just take these magnets out because I want to see the condition of the bearings on the armature. There's not too much play, but let's say we'll strip it down, clean it up, put it back together, and we'll see how it goes, but that's a problem. So I'm just looking at this, and you know, initially I thought these were maybe just there for show, but I did wonder about these big metal contacts at the top. And then of course when you look inside, they do pass current to the motor via that. So when this goes on, that contact there touches that. So it didn't need pickups on the front bogie. It would have collected current from the track and from the cables at the top. What do you call that again? Oh, I'm making myself look stupid here, aren't I? Is it pantograph? I don't know. Okay, so just got the brushes out, and then we'll take the rest of this apart. Screwdriver. I'm very familiar with this motor, so I shouldn't have too many surprises here. Take the magnet out. That'll get remagnetised later. And we'll give that a good clean. It comes off there, and surprise, surprise, the soldering comes off these things. Always does. Wash it off. And then these should unclip. Come on, why is this one so stubborn? Because normally these things fall out. There we go. See, I've maybe mentioned before that these can melt, and then you start to get poor pressure of the brushes onto the commutator, but these are in good condition, so that's all fine. So that's going in the metal cleaner, so is that. Everything else will be fine. Actually, we'll stick that in the metal cleaner, and we'll stick the brushes in as well. I often get asked about this stuff. It's just the ammonia-based solution that clock repairers use. Right, oh, you know what's coming now. We're going to clean this commutator up. So it's T-cut time. Just add the T-cut and give it a good clean. So from what the owner said, this locomotive has been in storage for a long time. So it's possibly not been run for a long time. Alright, okay, that's probably as clean as it'll get. It's quite seen a bit of use. Just before I go attacking this with anything else, I'm just going to have a very close look at the gaps between the poles there. You know, because it's very tempting, you know, to stick a pin or a tiny screwdriver or something and go scraping away. But you know, if there's no dirt in there, don't do that, because it's. I've seen quite a few commutators where, you know, the ends are a bit worn, or you can see there's, you know, the slots, you know, the gaps between the poles of the commutator are just slightly damaged, and it's just people, you know, being a bit too heavy-handed when they're cleaning the thing. Make sure there's no rubbish caught between the teeth and this drive gear. Important to clean the insides of these wheels as well, because that's where the pickups hit. Give these a bit of a scrub. Okay, that's my wheels nice and clean. Okay, so with everything nice and clean, we'll get this put back together. Pop this screw in there. So when I was dismantling this, I did notice that this looked a little different up here. There was something different going on, but you know, I didn't really think twice about it. But now that I've got it assembled again, I've realised that this isn't going to work. This is wrong. I think someone has fitted a makeshift contact here. This is not making contact with this pickup here, and it should. Really what it should be is this. This is part S3374, and this is the one of my class 35, and that should fit in there. And just get a hold of this again. This bit here should touch that, so it pickup comes from the wheels up to here into this, and then that makes contact with the brush retainer, the brush clip. So it passes current down to this brush here, and this brush makes direct contact with this pickup. So at the moment, this won't run because that is not making any contact. I mean, I could bend this down so it's touching that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fit this one for my class 35, and I'll order up another one for myself. So I need to take this off again. And also the capacitor being soldered onto that kind of made me think, is that right? But looking at the service sheet, no, it should be exactly the same as the class 35 or class 37 motor. Pop this on in its place. There. Now, that should work. Just take the magnet out just now. Just make it easy to get this in place, like so. And then we'll get these traction magnets in, just to help keep this all in place. Now, it was the worn gear that was at that end. So I just want to put this back as it was at the moment. Tell you what, forgetting myself, let's get some grease in there. And then we can fit this plate. There. So we've got a bit of play there, that's okay. The armature's turning, and it's turning both wheels. What happens when we stick a battery on this? Okay, it's going, a bit noisy. Let's get some gear oil in here. But yeah, I think most of the noise is coming from this worn wheel. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wheel out and swap it with one from my class 35, and just see how much better it is. Because as I thought, that worm gear really is just bouncing around on top of that drive gear. No, very different size drive gear. So that's not going to happen. I'll need to check my class 37. So let me just get one of the wheels out from my 37 here and see how it compares to this. Yeah, that's the same. Of course, the one thing I haven't mentioned is why that drive gear is so worn. I mean, maybe it's just been running in one direction a lot. You know, it's maybe just got a lot of mileage going in one direction. Because generally speaking, you know, there'll be a different amount of stress on each gear depending on the direction that it's going in. But I think what's more likely, and what's a little bit worrying, is that the gear mesh is bad and it's just been grinding away. Okay, so how does this sound? Different, but better. Interesting. I think I'm going to try both wheels from our class 37 in there, because I think some of the nasty noise is coming from this end. Well, it works. Well, it's certainly running a lot better, but it's still very, very noisy. Let's have another wee look at it. Okay, so with both wheels replaced, it does run a little bit better, but it's still too noisy. I suspect that this worm gear needs to be pushed in this way by about half a millimetre, if that. It just needs to come in a little bit, I think. That will restrict movement in the armature, and I just think it'll mesh the gears at both ends better if that's just in a very, very slightly different position. So I think we'll take this apart and we'll get the armature out and we'll see if we can knock this worm gear in just a tiny wee bit and see if that makes any difference. I don't think that's moving. That's the trouble with these brass worms, especially on these old armatures. They get really, really, really stuck. I'm just going to see if I can pull it first. If I can just pull it, it might just, loosen it so I can tap it the other way. So that's definitely moved it. Okay, that is just not budging. So I'm going to try pulling the gear on the other end, because in theory that could have the same effect. Okay, so I've pulled this worm a little bit because I could not get this worm to come this way at all, and I really didn't want to hit it too hard. So I've pulled this one because in theory that should, affect the position of both worms. So let's just see if this has made any difference. Oh, that's a lot better. So I need to go and see if I can get some wheels for this, but in the meantime, I think I'll put this back together and see what it looks like running. Okay, just before I put this back together, just going to give it a good dust. It is possible to get this, the underframe and the body separate, but it's a lot of clips, and I'm just not going there. But that would let me get all the glass out to clean and give the body a good wash. But no. And there's actually a couple of contacts here on the inside of the body, and they press down on these bits there. Alright, so we've pop this on. Like so. I think that's this there. There. Okay. Let's go and give this a wee buzz on the layout. Okay, so let's run it backwards. Okay, so I've been trying to get replacement wheels for this, because these are my Class 37 wheels, and there was only one pair on eBay, and just one. I thought, well, I really want two. So I got in touch with the Newborough Model Railway Specialist. Now, this was a guy who got in touch with me recently about another project I was working on, and he helped me out greatly. Unfortunately, the project itself wasn't really a success, but I'll not talk about that. But he was really helpful then, and I contacted him, and lo and behold, I've got hold of some replacement wheels that will fit this. So big thanks to Steve at Newborough Model Railway Specialist. He doesn't have a website as such, but he's got a Facebook page. I'll leave the link in the description below, so go and give him a thumbs up or a like or whatever you do on Facebook. But he's a chap I'll be using again in future, so a great source of spares and stuff. So cheers for that. Big thanks. Right, let's get these in. I'm hoping I don't have to tweak the worm gears again. I hope this works as it is. I'm not going to spend too long messing about. If it runs reasonably quietly for this particular motor, that'll do. There's too much risk of doing damage to the worm or the armature shaft or something, messing about with the position of the worm gear. So I felt I had to do it to get the noise down, but at the moment I'd say it's just acceptable. Right, okay, before I fit these, of course, they are in excellent condition, but we'll give them a bit of a clean and we'll grease them up. I've refitted the capacitor where it should be at the front there. And we'll remagnetise this. The magnet's actually quite strong, so I'm not sure if it really needs it, but we might as well. Got the remagnetizer sitting there, so we might as well give it a wee, give it something to do. We shall pop this in here, like so, and give us a couple of presses. Once, twice. Okay, let's try and reverse first. That's fine. Forwards. I'm happy with that. Right, let's get this back together. Okay, so just gently screw this down. Okay, let's go and stick this on the lathe one last time just to see it going backwards and forwards. That's running not bad at all. Well, let's go over all the points. What I would say is it's going quite slowly. I think it needs running in. I think, you know, we've got brand new drive gears there. I just think it needs a bit of time to run in. I remember when I got my Class 37 when it was new, it would run really slowly for about 10-15 minutes non-stop, and then all of a sudden it would start going much faster. And I think that's what's going on here. It's running quite smoothly, but not very fast. But fast enough. How fast do you want it to go? Okay, so that's this old Triang R351 Class 77 Electra running again. It's a little bit slow, but I think that will wear off, and I think it'll speed up once it's had a good run in. Because the brushes are in very good condition. They seem quite new, so I think once they've bedded in, and once those new drive gears have just got themselves a bit bedded into the worm gears, I think it'll be okay. But I don't think there's much more I can do with this. It's you know, fitted new drive gears, cleaned it, oiled it, got it running again. So all I've got to do now is get this package back up and arrange to get it sent back to its rightful owner. Okay folks, catch us later.